to Well Balanced Kids' latest video. You might have noticed that at the moment, because it's winter time, the nights seem quite long. So the sun sets when we're still awake. And even in the deepest, darkest part of winter, sometimes we get up and it's still dark. The sun hasn't yet risen. So the sun always comes up from the same direction. Have you noticed? Can you make a stretched out arm, make a pattern like the sun rising and then setting? So you could imagine that you've got a ball in your hand that's like the sun, and it's going to come up on the one side, comes all the way over our heads and then sets down on the other side. Can you do that with both of your hands? We have to go the same way. So you could imagine picking up a ball like the sun and bring it all the way up over your head and it's shining in the sky, and then bring it back down on the other side. Now in the winter time, the journey of the sun is quite short and it doesn't come all the way over our heads. But in the summer, then it makes a longer journey all the way up. Can you stretch all the way up and look up to your hands as it passes over and it sets probably after we've all gone to bed. The day is longer. The winter and then the summer, all the way over our heads. Did you do those big stretches with your arms? So today we're going to think about nighttime animals. We're going to think about the day and the night, but we're going to think about nighttime. So when we're tired, we might stretch and yawn and get ready for bed when it goes dark. Can you make a shh sound? So you don't want to wake, maybe you've got a baby brother or a baby sister. You have to be very quiet. Maybe they've already gone to sleep before you. Make a shh sound. Take a big breath in through your nose. Make a shh sound. Can you do that for a very long time? Let's do that once more. Take a great big breath. Fill your tummy and your chest with as much air as you can. Make a big long shushing sound. Yawn and stretch and imagine we're going to tuck ourselves up in bed. We're going to curl ourselves up like we've gone to sleep. But when we go to sleep, then some other creatures, some other animals might just be getting up. We're going to use our hands quite a lot today, so we're going to just try putting our thumb and each of our fingers together. Could you count to 4? Maybe I need to come a bit closer so you can see my hands for this. So we're going to take our fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then back the other way from the little finger, and the next one, and the next one, and the next one. Can we breathe in when we go in one direction and breathe out when we go the other? Do that again. Breathe in and breathe out. Beautiful breath work. So when we had our finger and our thumb together like this, so your first finger, we make a little kind of hole that we could peep through. And I'm going to imagine that I'm our first animal. Can you guess what it is? It's an animal, but it's actually a bird, isn't it? It's a great big bird. Might blink its eyes. Could you use your fingers to show these great big eyes blinking, closing and opening, closing and opening? It's a great big owl that we're going to pretend to be. So the owl can look from side to side, maybe slowly at first. Could you show me your great big blinking, wide owl's eyes? Look through those little holes that you've made and show me these great big blinking eyes. So our owl has got a very stretchy neck. We can't see all the way behind us without moving more of our body. So we're going to come up and stand up so we can use our whole body. Because if we turn our head, we can probably only see to the side. We've got to use our whole body. Can you see all the way behind you? And then come back to the front. So an owl can just twist his neck but see all the way behind and in front. Do that again. See all the way behind and in front. And again, behind you and back. See me. Just take our hands. They get tired after a while, keeping those wide owl's eyes. They're like big eyelashes, these, aren't they? Like an owl has eyelashes. So an owl might just perch. That means to balance. Might be balancing. Could you balance on your toes? Bend your knees and imagine that you're balancing on a high up branch. You might put your hands on your knees first, see if you can balance here. And then just like the owl, see if you can turn your head to one side. You see something over there and then back in front. Did you stay on your toes? Look to one side. Keep balancing, keep balancing, keep balancing. And look back in front. One more time each side. Balancing. Back to the middle. Sometimes if an owl sees something, it might move the head very sharply to one side. That's tricky to balance, isn't it? So owls, when they're looking down from their trees, they might spot something else that scurries around, perhaps once it's gone dark, or it doesn't like the hot sun, doesn't like to see bright sunshine, so it might hide away in shadows. So you're very lucky if you see one of these creatures. It's a bit slimy. I'm thinking of a toad, or maybe a frog. We're going to have our hands on the floor and our big frog or toad's legs here. You can wriggle around a little bit. So here's our little froggy. Going to do a tiny, tiny little jump. Not a great big jump, just very quietly, just lifting your feet off and going back down again. Can you do 3 of those? Let's count. 1, 2, 3. Are you landing quietly? Because it's night time. So our yoga today is all quite gentle and quiet. Can you hop to the side? Are you ready? After 3. 1, 2, 3. Hop. Just a little bit to the side. Can you hop back where you were? To the middle of your mat or your room. Can you hop to the other side? Very quietly. And back into the middle. We might need to stretch our legs out because our legs can get very tired. Bending our knees and jumping. Stretch out your legs for a moment and give them a stroke, and then we're going to come back to being that froggy one more time. What does a frog say? Ribbit, ribbit, ribbit. Does a toad say the same? Maybe you could find that out for me. I wonder what noise a toad makes. I imagine maybe the sound is a bit lower than a frog. So, I'm not going to jump this time. I'm going to clap my hands, and I'd like you to jump exactly when I clap, so you have to do really good looking. Did you jump? I might do more than one clap. Keep looking. I can see these bouncing frogs. I'm like the conductor, aren't I? Making you hop around like little froggies. Great. Can you balance like we did when we were an owl? Could you take your hands off? Maybe you can get your feet flat. Can you bring your hands just right underneath your chin? See if you can get your feet flat, your big froggy legs. In those big bent angles either side of you. So there's our little frog. So we've had owls, and owls is a word for animals that come out at night and sleep in the day, and that's nocturnal. So animals that are nocturnal, they go to sleep when it's daytime, and they get up when it's nighttime. So there's another animal, sometimes we might see these in the day, but they definitely scurry around at night. Sometimes they might try and get into our bins. I'm thinking of a fox. So we're going to come to our knees. And a fox's tail sticks straight out behind. You show me your fox's tail. And they're very sneaky. Well, foxes, cunning like a fox. Cunning means they're a bit sneaky. And clever. Can you look from side to side? Notice I'm keeping my tail straight out at the back. Can you keep your tail very strong? And look from side to side. Put your knee down on the floor and do that on the other side. Make your long fox's tail stick out the back, and then look with your head from one side to the other, a bit like the owl did. But now we're down here. Can you be really clever? So at the beginning we were thinking about moving just our hands and our fingers. Can you move just your foot? So make your tail long and then just twitch the end of your tail. Can you move just your foot? Can you just about see there? Just move your foot, not your leg, just your toes and your foot and your ankle. Like the fox is twitching right to the bottom of the tail. We'll do that on the other one as well. Just move your foot. How much can you just move that little tiny bit of you and keep the rest still? Flick it around, flick it around, flick it around. Great. So there's an animal that also we think of at night time that has very sharp, spiky spines all over its body. Could you show me with your fingers very sharp shapes? So make your fingers really spiky. You can make them spiky all over the place. So our hands are very strong, our fingers are very straight, like spikes. Spiky, spiky, spiky animal. Have you guessed what it is? Has spikes all over it. We wouldn't be able to pick it up without gloves on. I'm thinking of a hedgehog. Now, hedgehogs are very good at defending themselves with those spikes. So when they're walking around, their spikes might just be flat on their bodies. So we can put our hands on our bodies with our fingers pointing down. But when a hedgehog curls itself into a ball because it doesn't want somebody to pick it up. Then when it rolls itself into a rounded shape, the spikes stick right up. And you make those spikes stick up. So your hedgehog is extra spiky. No one can pick you up if you have all those spikes. Do that once more. See how much you can roll your body into a rounded shape like a ball, and then show me how the spikes stick up all over your back. You might imagine where all those spikes are. You can move your hands around and show me the spikes all over your back. Can you get them right up by your shoulders? And can you get them back down by your bottom? Show me all these spikes all over you. And then, the person has gone away. And then the hedgehog doesn't need to roll up in a ball. And then he trots off again. Now there's another very beautiful bird-like animal. Now this is a mammal. This is an animal that flies. So it's not a bird. Looks like a bird and it only comes out at night, definitely. Sometimes we think about them being something to do with Halloween or witches, but they're not scary. They're actually very beautiful. I'm thinking of a bat. Now bats, we're going to imagine a bat's wings. We're going to do 3 flaps, 1, 2, 3, and then pause. See how fast you can move just the lower part of your arm. 1, 2, 3. But bats don't glide around like the seagulls that we had a go at a week or 2 ago. They have to flap those wings quite fast, don't they? So let's do 3. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3, and stop. And again. 1, 2, 3. Great. 1, 2, 3. You can have a fly around your room if you like. This is our chance to travel off our mat and go anywhere you like. Being a bat with 1, 2, 3 wings. 1, 2, 3. And somewhere else. 1, 2, 3. You can run, but be careful. 1, 2, 3. Flap those arms. 1, 2, 3. Like a bat. Flapping. 1, 2, 3. Very fast. Great counting. Do your fingers feel tingly after that? Mine do. I just rub my hands together. Calm myself down again. Remember our slow breath. We did our fingers touching the thumb. And then back again. Can we do that when we breathe in? And breathe out. And breathe in. Notice it makes you feel a bit sleepy. When you slow your breath down, it can help you to calm down and help you to feel a little bit sleepy. So if you find it hard sometimes when you're really excited about something that's happening the next day, or you can't quite forget what's happened earlier and you're just all still excited about seeing somebody or doing something exciting, then sometimes listening just to your breathing, maybe counting with your fingers. It's a really, really easy trick to help us to calm down. Sometimes a grown-up might say, calm down. And you think, I don't know how to calm down, I'm so excited. This is a good way of doing it. Yeah, calmer now. So our bat, when they've had a flit around, it's daytime now. And the bats go to bed. But they don't sleep like we do. They don't have beds to go to sleep in. They have their wings and they cross them. Can you cross your arms and find your shoulders? They fold up their wings and they might cross them over each other like this. Can you do that like a bat? And they don't lie in a bed or curl up in a nest. Bats do something very special. So we're going to lie down on our backs. And we're going to imagine that our legs are the bat's feet. And do you know what bats do? They cling to the rooftop or to the inside of the cave, and they hang themselves upside down to go to sleep. So we're going to cross our bat's wings over our bodies and keep our feet stuck up in the air. And that's how a bat will rest. It is quite nice to rest like that, isn't it? With our feet up and our arms giving us a little cuddle. You spread your toes wide, just like that bat has to cling on to the ceiling or the rooftop of the cave. You might, if you have a grown-up perhaps to help you with this, you might be able to lift your bottom up and hang with your feet a little bit higher up. So you could just stay here. Or you could see whether you might pick your own bottom up with your hands and get your legs a bit higher. So we're going to try that. You don't need to come very high. I don't want you to come right up on your shoulders and hurt your neck. Just want you to lift your bottom and catch it. That was a thud. Catch your bottom and lift your feet up high. I've got to be strong in my arms to support my weight on my arms, and then we rest back down again. Keep those feet up in the air. Do that one more time. Swing your legs back towards your head a little bit and see if you can catch your own bottom. You might need some help from a grown-up. Lift up, catch your bottom. See if you can stretch those feet up, 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 up. As if you're sticking your toes right up high onto the ceiling. Keep them spread like those little bat's claws. And then roll yourself down ever so gently, quietly into the floor. And wrap your bat's wings around your legs and have a little rock from side to side. We're going to remember our shushing breath once more. You can stay lying down. It's been a very relaxing yoga today. Keep your hands on your tummy, or maybe one on your tummy and one on your chest. And take a big long breath in. And make that shushing sound. Do that one more time. Can you see how my tummy comes up when I breathe in and then sinks down when I breathe out and all the air comes out? So you can make your tummy come up. One last one, just like that. Then you might see whether you can let your legs stretch out and your hands stretch out. And you might close your eyes. Can you be as still as can be? Just for a minute. Let's see if we can time 1 minute of being completely still. That's quite a challenge, isn't it? Even when we're asleep, sometimes we wriggle around and we turn from one side to the other. Let's see if we can be completely still. Can you keep your hands still? Think about your hands and keep them still. Can you keep your arms still? Think about your arms and keep them still. can you keep your feet still? All the way to the ends of your toes. Can you keep your legs still? Both of them. And then the last bit, can you keep your head really, really still? So don't look at me for this last bit, just see if you can look up towards your ceiling and keep your head exactly where it is. And either close your eyes or just look at something that isn't moving. So even your eyes are still. If your eyes are open, you're allowed to blink. Keep looking at the same thing. Or close your eyes if you feel happy to do that. Do one last big shushing breath. Take a big breath in. And a shush. All the way out. And come back up like we're going to wake up with a stretch and a yawn. Stretch your arms, stretch your legs, have a big yawn and a wriggle. And then come all the way up to sit cross-legged. Take one more big stretch with your arms. It's the daytime again. We do one more little finger counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, and place our hands on our knees. And that's exactly where we will finish for today's yoga.